I think the biggest thing that we learned during the first month of the Chicago White Sox franchise here on MLB the Show 25 is that our team is really bad. We are 8-20. That is the worst record in the MLB, although our friends in the north side are not doing too much better. The Cubs sitting at 29th. But yeah, it was not a great start to the year for us. We lost on opening day 11-1 against the Los Angeles Angels, and we did not have a very good month. As I talked about in the last episode, our format for this series is that we're going to go through around a month per episode. And in the month of May, that's what we're going to designate to our minor league teams. We're still going to go through the big league month, but we're also going to designate some time to AA and AAA, take a look at some of our top prospects while still playing some games here with the big league crew. But what is going to be our special element for today's episode? This is probably my favorite one of the series and the one I think you guys are going to enjoy the most. So in the last episode, I asked you guys to pick some players who stood out. Can be stood out in a positive way or a negative way. Major leagues, minor leagues, literally anyone in the organization. And I'm going to need you guys to continue to do that, not just today, but going forward. This is going to be a pretty regular thing because as I've talked about so far in this series, I want player progression to be unpredictable, but I also want it to be performance-based as well. And I know MLB the Show kind of does that to an extent, but I want the guys who play well to go up accordingly and don't play well to go down. A lot of people said that Justin Anderson stood out in a negative way, and it's hard to disagree. These numbers are pretty pitiful. ERA nearing 20. WHIP is at around 4. He's been one of the worst pitchers in Major League Baseball this year and has been probably the worst player on this team, which says something because there's a lot of them. In terms of guys who stood out positively, there's a few. Drew Thorpe, one of our top long-term pieces, had a great month of April. In the minors, Jairo Iriarte was phenomenal over a few starts. Kyle Teel was excellent behind the plate. He's very close to being called up. Brandon Montgomery in AA had a great first month with us. And then in the big leagues, some more guys include Josh Rojas, Mike Tauchman, Andrew Benintendi. All of these guys got some support in the comments. Andrew Vaughn did as well. But the guy I saw the most in terms of standing out positively was third baseman Brian Ramos, who only had 39 at-bats. He didn't get a ton of playing time, but when he was in, he really produced. 3 homers, 7 extra base hits, 359 average, OPS above 1050, WAR at .4, which is third on the team, and that's impressive because he only has around a third of the at-bats as everybody else in this range. Shout out to Luis Robert as well, who's head and shoulders ahead of the rest of the group. But why exactly did I need you guys to mention players who stood out? Well, earlier this morning, I posted on the community tab that the wheel is making its return. That's right, we have added a random scenarios wheel, and we're going to spin it for guys who stand out positively or negatively. And the scenarios on the wheel, they vary. Some of them are good, others are bad. So we're going to spin the wheel twice today. Once for Brian Ramos, once for Justin Anderson. And as you can see, there's an interesting mix. Some of them include ratings boosts. Some of them are just temporary for the month. Others can stay if he plays well, but there are also some negative ones here, including an injury or possibly a PED suspension. Maybe he's been juiced up and that's why he's playing well. So there's a lot of different scenarios, and we're going to see all these play out over the coming episodes. But let's spin that wheel. Our first spin of the series for Brian Ramos. Okay, this is an interesting one. Spitting image. Change ratings solely based on performance. So this means that Ramos will get no boosts this month, and based on how he performs in the month of May, we will change his ratings accordingly. If he has another strong month, his hitting ratings are going to go up. If he really struggles, they can go down. So it's kind of an interesting one because while he doesn't get to go up right now, he can if he plays well. I'm not expecting him to have a 1050 OPS again, but if he performs at a pretty high level, he'll get some boosts. As for Justin Anderson, it's kind of similar, but there's more negative ones because he struggled. Rotation downgrade, decrease his role, or in his case, he would go down to AAA. Many of these see the ratings go down. I think one of them has ratings go up, and then there's another injury one, but it's a little different for pitchers. Elbow soreness, we have to limit his innings over the next month. He has to throw less innings than he did in the last month, and if he does not, he has to spin the wheel of Tommy John. All right, here we go. The spin for Justin Anderson. Okay, that's a little anticlimactic. As you'll see, some of them for hitters and pitchers are the exact same. So he got the spitting image spin, which is exactly what Brian Ramos got. Basically, his performance in the month of May will determine if his ratings go up or if they go down. Now, I was planning on sending him down to the minor leagues anyway, so that's what we're going to do. He's going to have to perform well in AAA, and if he does, his ratings will go up. If he does not perform well, they will go down based on his stats. Let me know what you guys thought of the wheel down below in the comments, and if you have any ideas for other scenarios, please feel free to share them because I'm looking for more ideas to include. Replacing Anderson on the big league roster will be Jairo Iriarte, who's had 6 starts in AAA, and he's been really good. ERA below 2, whip barely above 1. He pitched in 6 games last year for the White Sox out of the bullpen. But I want to see him in the rotation as a starter because I think he's got long-term starter upside. One of the better prospects of the Dylan Cease trade a couple years ago. So he will move into the rotation. We've got some intriguing young players there now with Iriarte, Thorpe, and Jonathan Cannon even got some love in the comments from you guys in the last episode. He was inconsistent, but he had some really good performances. Offensively, the guy I want to touch on real quick is Luis Robert because he only has 1 home run. The power has been disappointing, but the other numbers have been really good. Hitting for solid contact. He's drawing a ton of walks. His walk rate is like doubled what it was last year. So we're going to talk about the big league team in a little bit, but first, let's take a trip down to the farm. We'll be doing some player locking of our top prospects, and we will start with catcher Kyle Teel in AAA, who's been one of our positive standouts this year as part of the Garrett Crochet deal. 308 average, 887 OPS. He's hit 5 home runs. He's close to being called up to the big leagues, and there's a chance it happens in this episode. But I do want to see him in-game first with the AAA Charlotte Knights, who have had an okay season so far, hovering around 500, as we face off against the Norfolk Tides, the AAA affiliate of the Baltimore Orioles. So we'll get our first look here at Kyle Teel in-game. Again, I'm hoping we can call him up at some point this month, but we'll see if he's able to keep his performance up. 305 average, OPS just shy of 870 with 5 home runs on the season. He's been one of our best minor leaguers so far. The 1-0 rips this one into the opposite field, and that goes for a base hit. So with 2 away, the Knights have a runner aboard here, and we'll see if we can do some damage and try to put ourselves on the board first. Now there's runners on first and second for Nick Maton, who's having a really good year. Up the middle with a single. He hesitated, now headed for the plate, and is safe. Kyle Teel scores. It's an RBI single for Nick Maton, and it's 1-0. Wow, look at this. Bases loaded in the second for Teel with 1 gone. And he launches this one into right center. This one should be caught, but hey, not a bad at-bat. Considering the history we have on this channel with the bases loaded, that could have gone way worse. It's a successful sacrifice. And that'll make it 2-0. So Teel has either scored or been responsible for the 2 runs today, as it's now 4-1 into the 5th. Trevor Rogers is in for Norfolk. Teel is definitely more comfortable against right-handed pitching, so I want to see him get more reps against lefties. Behind in the count, 0-2. Hits it solidly into left, but it will be caught right around foul territory for the first out of the frame. Let's move bottom 8, still 4-1. Matt Bowman in the game as Teel has to chase the splitter. He was behind 1-2. He kind of had to swing at that, and he grounds out to second. Not a bad game, though. Kyle Teel goes 1 for 4 with a base hit, a run, and an RBI as the Charlotte Knights win this game by the final score of 4-1. A pretty good showing all around by the team. Really solid pitching performance for the squad today as we take a look at the rest of the numbers. Nick Maton, 2 for 3. He's a guy who might get called up pretty soon with how well he has played for us in AAA. Maton drove in the other 3 runs in this game while Sean Burke pitched pretty well, then got injured, and the bullpen did what they needed to finish the job. While Kyle Teel's been very impressive, I cannot say the same for Colson Montgomery. He did not have a good spring. I was hoping to have him on the opening day roster, but obviously he didn't make the team, and, well, he's really struggled through the first month in AAA. He doesn't look close to making the big league roster right now, and it's a little bit discouraging because he was kind of mediocre last year. Before that, he was really good, but his numbers have taken another big hit. His OPS is below 600. His defense has been kind of shaky. Now, much of that is because I don't think he's going to stick it short. I think he's more of the third baseman, but Charlotte has had to play him at short largely for necessity because he's the only guy on the roster who can really do it. But that doesn't excuse his poor offenses. We're already up 2-0, bottom 2 off of the homer by Joey Gallo. And Montgomery chases the changeup. That was not your pitch. Brendan Young got him fooled. Enrique Bradfield, former first-rounder out of the University of Vanderbilt, grounds it to short. Going to get a look at him defensively. Again, I really like him at third base. I think he's outgrown the shortstop position a little bit and will probably be best suited for the hot corner, but I do think he has good versatility defensively. And even though he hasn't played all that well on defense, he has shown the tools to suggest that he will be a plus big league defender. 3-2 here, bottom 4. Montgomery up the middle. That's not going to be anything. Grounder to short. Good hustle to first, but not in time. Montgomery's got solid speed for a bigger guy as it's 3-4. Brandon Drury drove in a run for us, but Jackson Holiday got one back with a solo shot. Runner on, one away. Looks like we'll have a chance at 2. Tag second. Throw to first. A beauty! Colson Montgomery showing off the leather and the cannon. As it's still 4-3, bottom 6. Like Kyle Teel, he's a lot more comfortable against right-handed pitching. But against Trevor Rogers, he hits the first pitch pretty well. Will be caught, though, in left for the first out of the frame. Let's travel bottom 9. Bowens with a homer. Holiday brings in a run. And we find ourselves trailing 5-4 with the veteran Albert Suarez in for the save. Nobody out, so Montgomery's got a really good opportunity to do some damage here, start the inning with a base runner, give ourselves a chance to win this game. Behind 0-1, fouls it off. Already not a great start because he finds himself behind 0-2. We'll see if Suarez can get the out here with Montgomery behind in the count. 0-2 pitch on the way. Got him looking! Montgomery thought that pitch was going to be to the outside, but Suarez got him looking, and we would not end up winning the game. 5-4 victory for the Tides. Colson Montgomery goes 0 for 4. Pretty rough showing offensively, as has been the case throughout the year. But he did look good defensively. That double play, I think, back in the 6th inning, that was beautiful. There's still a lot of upside with him. I'm not giving up hope. It's only been a month. But it has not been a good season for him at all. Maybe he gets a wheel spin at some point. It would not be the good wheel, put it that way. The other guy I want to highlight is Noah Schultz, number 1 prospect in the organization, number 16 in all of baseball. He's in Double-A right now, and he is dominating. He's started in 5 games this year, averaging around 6 innings per start. He's only allowed 6 earned runs, 0 homers, 9 walks. That's one of the big pluses of his game. There's so many young pitchers in the minors who cannot throw strikes. He can. The biggest surprise, though, is the strikeout rate. He's not a strikeout guy, but he's averaging over a strikeout per inning with an ERA at 1.72, whip at 1.21. Hagen Smith, our other top pitching prospect, has been arguably even better, which is great to see. Those 2 young lefties, who we hope will sit atop our rotation one day, have looked very good so far this season. We'll get another chance to look at Hagen Smith in the future, but I want to prioritize Schultz because I think there's a much better chance that we will see him on the big league roster at some point this season. Probably not until closer to the end of the year, but I think there's a good chance he will. In terms of top pitching prospects on this roster, there's Edgar Caro, the catcher, who's been kind of disappointing. But I touched on Brandon Montgomery earlier, who's had a very good start to the year in the outfield, hitting for good contact and power. So here is Schultz. We'll be facing off against the Pensacola Blue Wahoos, the Double-A affiliate of the Miami Marlins, as Dylan Head strikes out. Head was acquired from the Padres in the Luis Ariz deal a couple seasons ago. Jack Winkler is now up. What a name, hitting .057. That is not good. As he grounds it to second, Chase Mydroff makes the play, another member of the Garrett Crochet deal, which through the first month, I get it's a small sample size, but with how well Teel and Brandon Montgomery have been, it looks like a pretty good deal. Torrin Montgomery into right. It's caught by Wilfred Veras, one of the better outfield prospects in our system currently behind Brandon Montgomery. 1-2-3 inning, we move into the second. Ryan Ignofo, the first baseman, pops it up. DJ Gladney, another one of our outfield prospects. He can also play first, and that's where he is today. Makes the play. Cody Morissette, 1-2 up the middle into center, and it is caught! What a catch by Brandon Montgomery! showing off the leather. He's had an impressive season offensively as a switch hitter, but he can really defend as well, and I'm curious to see if he has the glove, the athleticism, and the range to ultimately stick in center long term. But nonetheless, I think he's going to be a big piece of our future. Jay Beshears grounds it to second. Mydroff makes the play. 6 up, 6 down. Good start for Schultz. No strikeouts yet, but it hasn't been a problem because, well, Pensacola is without a hit up to this point. Big inning offensively, we would score 5. Edgar Caro drove in a pair with a double. Andre Lipsius homered as well as Chase Mydroff as Mark Coley II lines out into right. It is caught by Wilfred Veras for the first out of the inning. Bennett Hosteller grounds it to second. Mydroff's had a busy game as there's out number 2. We've called on his name a lot defensively, and that, along with the homer, has been a pretty good first impression, I would say. Kyle Stowers is now up, full count. Into left, Burke is after it, and he will make the play. 9 up, 9 down, courteous of Noah Schultz. He looks like he wants that big league promotion sooner rather than later. To start the 4th, Dylan headlines it into left for a base hit. The first base runner of the game for the Blue Wahoos. The Birmingham Barons, our AA affiliate, added to the lead, so it's now 6-0. That'll bring up Jack Winkler. Count is full. He draws a walk. Not ideal walking someone whose average is at like 50. That'll bring up Teel Montgomery. Full count. And that one is down the line and fair. Pensacola should be able to put themselves on the board. The question is if it's 1 or 2. Winkle heads to score. He is safe. 2-run double for Teel Montgomery. And the Pensacola Blue Wahoos are on the board as it's now 6-2. Ryan Ignofo flies it into right. Wilfred Veras has had a busy game. He makes the play. Montgomery looks to tag up to third. The throw from Gonzalez is just not in time. So now there is a runner at third base for Cody Morissette, who flies it into left field. Jacob Burke is under it. He'll make the play. Should be enough room for Montgomery to score, and it's now 6-3. Definitely not Noah Schultz's best inning, especially considering how well he looked early in this game, not allowing a base runner until the 4th. Jay Beshears, dribbler to third. Lipsius fields it. Throw to first is in time, but a shaky frame for Noah Schultz, probably his worst inning of the year. And the Blue Wahoos might be back in the game as it is 6-3. That'll bring us into the 5th. Mark Coley II leads things off. Goes down on the fastball. Let's see if Noah Schultz can get back into a groove. That is just his 2nd strikeout of the game. He has not relied on the swing and miss stuff to be productive. Hosteller into right. It is caught by Wilfred Veras for the 2nd out of the frame. Kyle Stowers now behind 1-2. Acquired last year at the deadline from the Orioles. He goes down on the slider. He was part of the Trevor Rogers deal. A little bit ironic because we saw Trevor Rogers earlier today in AAA with the Norfolk Tides when we were using Colson Montgomery and Kyle Teel. Into the 6th, look at that score, 10-3, headlined by another 2-run double by Edgar Caro, who has driven in 4 runs today. Good play there at second for the first out of the inning by Mydroff. Now Jack Winkler into center. Braden Montgomery is under it. He makes the play pretty easily. Montgomery, who's been probably the best offensive player on this team this year, is like the only guy who hasn't been good at the plate today. Teel Montgomery hits this one high into right. Wilfred Veras at the track, at the wall, it's gone! First home run allowed all year by Noah Schultz. It took around 37 innings, but it finally happens. It's Teel Montgomery, his 3rd of the year. He has been exceptional in this game. One of the few guys on this Pensacola offense who's been productive. And we're going to take Schultz out of the game. I know the numbers are not going to look great. 5 2/3 innings, having allowed 4 runs. But if you watch this game, it was clear that his stuff was impressive, even without the strikeouts. As that will bring in Anthony Hoopy Tui Onitoa out of the bullpen. That is a really fun name to say. I hope he eventually becomes a big leaguer. I doubt it. His ERA starts with a 7, but imagine saying that name fast 3 times in a row. The Barons win this game 10-4. Does end up being the final. Neither team scored after Noah Schultz was taken out of the game, but he gets the win. His 3rd of the year. Again, the numbers aren't necessarily going to look spectacular. He let up 4 runs, but those were the only 4 base runners he let up. He only allowed 3 hits in this game. It was just that Pensacola had pretty much all of their base runners in a row in that 4th inning. 4 of his 6 innings were perfect. It's just that the 4th inning went kind of rogue, and then he allowed the homer in the 6th to Montgomery. Nonetheless, good to see some of our top prospects. Some of them, like Schultz and Teel, are performing really well. Others, like Colson, Montgomery, maybe not so much. During that minor league stretch, we would go through a 3-game set against the Brewers, hopping into all 3 games. And here in the first one, Luis Robert has 2 homers and is looking for a 3rd. Lou Bob went deep just once in the first 28 games of the year. Here in the first game today, he's gone yard twice and is looking to do so for a 3rd time. That felt like it was the pitch. Slurve up and away at 77 from the former White Sox, Jose Quintana. Now Robert finds himself behind in the count 0-2, and he chases the circle change. He got a little too aggressive there. But still a nice win for the White Sox as we take it 5-1, snapping an 8-game losing streak that we held at the end of the last episode. We had lost 9 of 10, so it's good to get back on the win column with a great game from Luis Robert. Considering he's done everything else on a high level other than the power, if his power can come along, then that would be a really big deal. As for the second game, Andrew Benintendi is a 10-game hitting streak. Doesn't look like we're going to win this one, trailing 6-2, but we'll see if he can complete this milestone. I would argue Benintendi's been our most consistent player this year, but it looks like the hit streak is over as he goes down on the sweeper. What a pitch by Hudson as the Brewers win it 6-2. Freddie Peralta gets the win. Peralta's had a really rough year. His ERA for the season is in like the 7s or 8s, I think. He needed a get-right game, and, well, who better than the Chicago White Sox to do that with, as he ended up going 6 strong. As for Jairo Iriarte making his first start of the year, did not go very well. He did not get out of the 3rd inning, did not strike out a single batter, letting up 5 runs, only 3 of which were earned. But we would get a much better pitching performance in the last matchup. Jonathan Cannon looking to go for the complete game shutout. He's only let up 1 hit and 1 walk through 8 innings. Terang grounded to 3rd, dribbler onto 1st in time. That was a close call there, but a good throw from the hot corner for Chicago by Josh Rojas. Andrew Monasterio into right. Charging forward is Dominic Fletcher, who's had a really nice game, 3 for 3 with a homer, as it comes down to Christian Yelich. Only the 83rd pitch of the game for Cannon. Grounded to 2nd. Ramos diving play. Throw to 1st is in time. What a play by Brian Ramos. I was focused on his offensive ratings potentially going up with a good month. Maybe his defense needs to take a boost. What a play. Complete game shutout for Jonathan Cannon. And I think the thing with him this year is that he's been kind of inconsistent up to this point, but the highs have been really high. Cannon has given us some great flashes. Some of you guys pointed it out during the last episode, even when I didn't really talk about him that much. But there were certainly some ups and downs, and here's the biggest up of his season. 1 hit, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, and a complete game shutout as we win the series against the Brewers. Now, officially going into the month of May, we are going to make another roster move. I had hinted at this one earlier. Nick Maton is playing very well for the AAA team. 278 average, draws a lot of walks, OPS in the high 800s. He's got some big league experience. Granted, he hasn't played all that well for the Phillies, Tigers, and Orioles. But he will be called up, and Brooks Baldwin, who's been quite bad, he will be sent down. He won the opening day shortstop job out of spring ball, but he has been pretty horrific in the games that actually count. I want to play against the Cubs. I know they've been quite bad, but obviously they are a rival. So we're going to simulate to that series going through games against Houston, Kansas City, Miami, and Cincinnati. So we'll see how we perform starting with this series against the Astros. After winning the first game, might I add, Davis Martin went through 7 scoreless here just for the bullpen to let up a run. It was James Karinchak. We're going to yank him for Dan Altavilla. He's been one of our few consistent bullpen arms this year, but he's got quite the uphill battle against Yordan Alvarez, who puts it on the ground. This could be 2. Ramos, Sosa, over to Vaughn! 4-6-3 double play. The White Sox get out at the top of the 9th, and sure enough, we would not get to hop back in, but we would walk it off. Matt Thaiss with an RBI single in the bottom of the 10th to win it. It was scoreless going into the 8th, but Isaac Paredes homered for the Astros. We responded in the bottom half of the frame with a pinch hit home run off the bench by Luis Robert. The White Sox today are 4-1. What a start, and we'll see if we can get the sweep against the Astros up 2-1 in the bottom of the 7th. Another really good start by Drew Thorpe is in danger because of the bullpen. Jose Altuve up the middle, base hit. That's going to score 2 off of the Rule 5 pick Shane Smith. Really good throw in center from Luis Robert, but unfortunately, it is not in time. So the Astros now lead 3-2 as Mauricio Dubon puts it on the ground. Maton at short makes the throw. The Astros take the lead, though, 3-2. Yet another Drew Thorpe start. That's not going to result in him getting a win because the bullpen lets us down. Now, luckily, Brian Ramos, solo shot to tie it at 3 into the 8th. But the Astros have loaded the bases again. It's Brendan Rodgers against Cam Boozer. Fouls it off, finds himself behind in the count 1-2. If we can put the ball on the ground here, that would be gigantic. Huge spot in this game. The White Sox looking for the series sweep as this one goes into left. And that should be able to score the sacrifice runner from third. We're not even going to try to get him out. We know it's not going to happen. So the Astros take the lead 4-3 while they sacrifice fly by Brendan Rodgers. That'll bring up the former World Series MVP Jeremy Pena, only hitting .217, but he rips this one into the gap. Fletcher and Robert both after it. That should probably score 2. Robert hesitates. He's got to pick up the ball. Pena has 99 speed. He could go home, and he will. Ramos, the throw, offline. Inside the park home run for Jeremy Pena, and the Astros lead at 7-3. Wow, what a display of base running by Pena, as that'll bring up Chas McCormick. Count is even 1-1. Boozer has to stay in the game. This is just his third batter. It's into center. Robert doesn't make the play. He was lollygagging to that ball. McCormick will hold at second. Good job by Fletcher to cut off the ball quickly. But the Astros have another runner in scoring position. Defensive disaster class in the outfield. Dan Altavilla will come in out of the bullpen to replace him. We've just got to keep the lead where it is and not let the Astros have a chance to add to it. Altuve into left. Tauchman will not track it down. This one bounces in front of the wall. It'll go for a double, and the Astros will make it 8-3. This bullpen is seriously a mess. The amount of good starts that we've had this year where the relievers cannot keep the lead has been embarrassing. Luckily, we do get a strikeout there. Dubon goes down looking. Big inning for the Astros. They score 5, leading at 8-3, and they would add to the lead in the 9th, ultimately winning at 11-4. Jeremy Pena drives in 3 more runs with a double. Brian Ramos would bring home a run with a base hit, but unfortunately, it's certainly not going to matter as we end up losing by 7. Still a good series. I mean, we won 2 of 3 against the Astros. It's hard to be too upset with that. But kind of an embarrassing performance here in Game 3. The offense only got 5 hits, but we did get 5 walks and 4 runs. Drew Thorpe was really good again. I don't think Thorpe has technically won a game yet. He's towards the very tippy top in terms of ERA in the AL. He's won 1 game. He's 1-0 in 7 starts, even though he's played well in all 7 games so far. He has no wins. Hopefully that doesn't keep him out of the All-Star game. He's currently in 6th in terms of starting pitching. Speaking of young starters, Hagen Smith suffers a minor injury in Double-A. We want to be cautious, but it doesn't look like a big deal. Here against the Royals, Andrew Vaughn has homered twice, looking to get a third against Chris Bubich. 0-2 up the middle, not a homer, but a base hit. Another strong showing here from the White Sox, looking to add to the win column. We've already done so quite a bit today, winning our first 2 series against Milwaukee and the Astros. We'd get another opportunity in the 9th. Mike Tauchman, RBI double. Brian Ramos continues to hit the piss out of the ball with an RBI single. Vaughn gets one more shot against Giants franchise legend John Schreiber. Going to be a close play, and he is out! What a throw by Bobby Witt Jr. at short. Will not matter, though. The White Sox still win this game 5-1. And I want to shout out John Schreiber again. We know him from the Giants series before we actually traded him, ironically, to the Royals. I recently discovered through his Twitter a couple weeks ago that he's a big Lions fan. So shout out John Schreiber and shout out Jairo Iriarte. He went 8 innings only having allowed 1 run, but the stat that pops out to me the most is the walks. 0. That was the issue with him last year. In 6 big league innings, he walked 8 batters, so it's very encouraging to see him getting none. Not all good news, though, as Dan Altavilla, our one consistent reliever, tore his hamstring. I am excited to call up Jared Schuster, though. I wanted to see him make the opening day roster. It didn't happen, but he's played well in AAA, former first-round pick of the Braves. And he was pretty decent last year, so I'm excited to see him at the big league level. One of our starters, Bryce Wilson, broke his arm. He'll be out for a month or 2. We were very lucky in terms of injuries in April, not so much here in May. Steven Wilson will take his spot on the roster, while Mike Clevenger will move from the bullpen to the starting rotation. We would end up splitting the 4 games against the Royals. We're trailing this series against the Marlins 2-0, but Brian Ramos has homered twice in this game. He continues to hit the ball really well. That one goes off the bat 106, but it will be caught in center by Derek Hill. The White Sox would win it here on Mother's Day 4-0, avoiding the sweep against the Marlins. Our first series loss of the episode. It took us 4 series for that to be the case. I'm honestly kind of impressed. Brian Ramos leads the way here in the win, obviously going deep twice against our guy Edward Cabrera, who we know very well from the Marlins series in MLB the Show 23. It's looking less and less like that Ramos' first month was a fluke and that he might just be the real deal. OPS is still above 1,000, 7 homers, which leads the team. He's got 4 in the last 6 games. He's been balling, and his ratings are going to take a nice increase if he keeps playing well. Joey Gallo would suffer a long-term injury. He'll move to the 60-day IL as we take 1 of 3 against the Reds. So honestly, a pretty good start to the episode. We're 8-8 so far after starting 8-20. In this game against the Marlins, we lost 12-3. When I saw Drew Thorpe got the loss, I figured he had a bad start, but no, it was the bullpen. This game against the Reds, we ended up winning 10-3. Robert homered again. Ramos had 3 hits, and Nick Maton had 3 hits. He's hitting .354. Drew Thorpe, meanwhile, 7 innings, 2 earned runs, striking out 10. The Ks have been the one issue with him, so to see him in the double digits there is great to see. He still has not had a bad start all year. Before we get to this Cubs game, I do want to talk about Luis Robert real quick because, as I said, I was hoping the power would come along here in May. And boy, has it. He's already matched his WAR from last year. He sits at 7 home runs, 4 of which have come in the last 10 games, 6 of which have come in this episode. The contact has gone down a little bit, but he's hitting for great power. He's still drawing a ton of walks. And that'll bring us to this Cubs series. I wanted to play this first game, get an opportunity to pitch with Jairo Iriarte, because I'm really excited about him. He's looked pretty good so far this year through 3 starts. So we'll see which team can win the Battle of Chicago. Arguably the 2 worst teams in the league right now. The White Sox was to be expected. The Cubs, certainly not at 17-27 as we take a look at Iriarte on the bump. That first start did not go so well against Houston, but over his last 2, he's been very impressive, going over 13 innings, only having allowed 1 run in that stretch, 10 Ks to just 3 walks. 3 walks in 13 innings is a fantastic rate for him. Let's take a look at both lineups 1-9, and as we take a look at the Cubs, we'll meet their starting pitcher, the veteran lefty Matthew Boyd, who's been pretty average this year. 4.76 ERA, whip at around 1.5. Andrew Benintendi at the top of the order, hitting .281. He continues to be highly productive. Has been worth the contract. What on earth is the first baseman doing? Why did he throw it so early? Is he stupid? Well, we'll take that base hit, but what on God's name was Michael Busch thinking? Luis Robert draws a walk, so there's 2 on, nobody out. Great opportunity for Lenyn Sosa, who's only hitting .178, but we got him in the cleanup spot because he's very good against lefties. On the ground, could be 2, 6, 4, 3. Inning-ending double play. The White Sox start off the frame with 2 runners on base, nobody out, and they score 0. Just great. So here is Jairo Iriarte, 2.25 ERA, whip at 1 through his first 3 starts of the year. It's been a fantastic beginning to this season, dating back to his AAA performances. A very encouraging opening 9 games of the year for Uriarte as he strikes out John Birdie on the slider. That'll bring up the talented contact-hitting second baseman Nico Horner, only hitting .250 this year. But he belts this one into the left center gap. Robert will not get to that one quick enough. It's a one-out double for Horner, and the Cubbies have a runner in scoring position as they look to strike first. Carson Kelly, the catcher, 2-2 away, swinging a miss on the fastball. Uriarte gets out of the frame, only having allowed the one hit. As we move into the second, the hot hand, Brian Ramos, has been making headlines in the South Side this season, but he chases the high fastball there. A good pitch by Boyd. Bottom second, 2 away. Both pitchers really settling in nicely. Swanson hits it well into right center. Dominic Fletcher is under it, and he will make the play. 1-2-3 inning for Uriarte. We'll see if either offense can get on the board here in the third. The White Sox still looking for their first hit of the game, and it will not be from Dominic Fletcher, who strikes out on the fastball for the first out of the frame. Second K of the day for Boyd. Nick Maton got him looking on the fastball, hitting .355. He's been very good, but does not do anything there. Benintendi, count is full, and he draws a walk. The White Sox have been able to get some base runners off of walks. Of course, the error, or whatever you can call it, by Michael Busch earlier. Luis Robert with a rocket into left field. First hit of the game for the White Sox. And they've got 2 on, 2 away. Big opportunity for Andrew Vaughn, who's ahead in the count 3-1. And he draws a walk. The bases are loaded for Lenyn Sosa, who had 2 on, 1 out in the first. He grounded into a double play. The good news is he can't do that here because there's 2 outs. Ooh, that's a good take. Low fastball. Looked like it did hit the edge of the strike zone, but they're not going to call it. Count is full. 2 away. Sosa flies it into left. That is certainly not going to be enough. Under it is Seiya Suzuki, who makes the play, and the Chicago White Sox leave them loaded. They only have 1 base hit today from Luis Robert, but have gotten no shortage of runners. We just haven't been able to drive them in. Bottom 3, the catcher Miguel Amaya leads things off. This one grounded to short. Maton tries to set his feet. Backhanded throw is not in time. And the Cubs find themselves with a runner aboard to start the third. 1 away, John Birdie lines this one into right. That will bounce fair and over the fence for a ground rule double. An unlucky bounce for the White Sox. And now there's 2 runners in scoring position. Big opportunity for Nico Horner. Swinging a miss on the fastball. Big punch out for Jairo Uriarte, his 3rd K of the day. And that'll bring up the new face on the block, Kyle Tucker, who was supposed to rejuvenate this team. Hasn't happened as he looks at ball 3. I kind of think that should have been called a strike. To be fair, the umpire did give us a call in the top half of the frame. Ball don't lie, I guess, but that is a brutal miss. Full count pitch on the way. Tucker lines it into right. Fletcher is under it, and he will make the play. Jairo Uriarte gets out of the jam. The Cubs had 2 runners in scoring position. Both teams continuously leaving guys on. Corey Lee rips it into left to start the 4th. Bounces off the shrubs. 107 off the bat, and they will tag him out at second base. The second baseman, Nico Horner, wasn't even covering the bag, but he was able to run over and tag him out. Yeah, he definitely got him in time. What a throw in left by Seiya Suzuki. As we go bottom 4, another close call. Come on, Angel, you got to do us a solid there. It hit the line on the bottom. That is technically a strike. Full count pitch, single into right. And Carson Kelly is aboard to lead off the bottom of the 4th inning. We'll see if this is where the Cubs can finally give themselves some runs and look to take the lead. Seiya Suzuki up for Chicago. This one is crushed into the gap. That should pretty easily score Kelly. Fletcher looks to get to it. Kelly rounds 3rd, heads home, and he will be safe. The Chicago Cubs on the board first, an RBI double for Super Seiya. Seiya Suzuki makes it 1-0. Michael Busch down the line, past the glove of Brian Ramos. It'll roll all the way to the wall. Suzuki scores. It's 2-0 Cubs with a double by Busch, making up for his defensive blunder early in the game. Keep in mind, there's still nobody out. Uriarte's put himself in uncomfortable territory as he gets Dansby Swanson to go down looking. First out of the frame, that'll bring up Miguel Amaya. 1-2, swinging a miss on the fastball. Uriarte starting to look a little bit more comfortable again with a pair of punch-outs. That's his 5th of the afternoon. Pete Crow Armstrong now up for the Cubs. 1-1 pitch. That one nearly hits him. Slider up and in. Charge the mound. We want to see an inner Chicago fight. Get the fans riled. But PCA has other plans for revenge. It gets by Benintendi, who misplays it. 3-0 lead for the Cubs. An RBI double for Pete Crow Armstrong. And if they get another base hit, he's 100% scoring with that 99 speed. Uriarte's leash getting short. Birdie hits it well into center. Luis Robert makes the play, but a strong inning for the Cubs. They get 3 runs across with RBI doubles for Kelly, Busch, and Pete Crow Armstrong. I don't think we're going to see Uriarte back in the 5th. No walks again is nice, but he has been outperformed by Matthew Boyd. Dominic Fletcher leads off the frame for the White Sox, and he goes down on the fastball, lefty-on-lefty crime. Second time he has struck out today. Nick Maton now, hanging pitch up and away, and he lets it rip off the wall in right center. That was inches away from squeaking out. It does go for a double, and Maton, who's been crushing the ball since being called up, is in scoring position. Pete Crow Armstrong hurt his arm as he threw the ball, so he's going to be taken out of the game, and it looks like Matthew Boyd is going to join him. This is an odd decision by manager Craig Counsell. I don't get this one at all. Boyd's pitching count is starting to get a little bit high-ish, but I don't think it's early enough to take him out. So he'll be replaced by Tyson Miller, who's had a really good season to his credit. 2.89 ERA and 25 appearances, but with how well Boyd has pitched, I just don't get it. Our good friend Ian Happ will take over in center following a Benintendi walk. Robert swinging a miss on the sweeper. All you can do there is tip your cap. What a pitch by Tyson Miller. 2-on, 2 away now for Andrew Vaughn, who ignites it into left field. King Vaughn says put the weapons down, but little did we know his bat is a weapon of mass destruction. 429 feet, his 6th of the year, and this game is tied at 3. With one swing of the bat, the White Sox offense has awoken. It's Andrew Vaughn who launches it, no doubter, as soon as it went off the bat to tie this game. I think it's fair to say the Cubs regret taking Boyd out of the game. That decision, in fact, did not age well. Lenin Sosa draws a walk. Runner aboard here for Brian Ramos. He's been quiet today. The OPS for the first time in a while below 1,000. Grounds it up the middle, and it's flipped over to short. I don't know why he didn't just throw it to first. That would have been a much easier play for Horner, but they get the out. Strong inning for us, though, with a 3-run shot by Andrew Vaughn to tie it up. We still are going to take Uriarte out. He'll be replaced by Jared Schuster. He's pitched 5 1/3 innings so far in the big leagues this year and has been mostly up and down. Nico Horner starts things off, got him looking. The strikeouts is the one area that I'm a little bit nervous about for Schuster. I thought he really improved in that area, though, from 2023 with Atlanta to last year with the White Sox, and that's a fair ball. What was Andrew Vaughn doing? He just let it go. Okay. You know what? I'm going to give him a pass because he had the homer in the last inning. Maybe I shouldn't have, because that runner's probably going to make his way over to third off the single by Kelly. Good throw by Robert, quick tag by Ramos, but he is safe. So now there's runners on the corners, one away. Seiya Suzuki can put Chicago back ahead, and he probably will. Flies it into right. Fletcher makes the play. That should be enough room for Kyle Tucker to score off the sacrifice, and he does. Not enough. Put on the throw, and the Cubs are back on top 4-3. Michael Busch Lines this one into left. Benintendi, no. Cannot make the play. Bounces off the foul wall. Runner rounds third, looks to score. It's an RBI double for Michael Busch. So the Cubs get 2 back after the 3-run homer by Vaughn. It's 5-3. Schuster's gone, and he'll be replaced by our high-leverage man, James Karinchak. It's weird because I trust him in this spot even though he's been really bad this year. ERA above 8, whip above 2. Batting average against righties is 340s, and against lefties it's 333, but he strikes out Dansby Swanson. I have felt really comfortable pitching with him. It's just that in sim, he's been awful. Caleb Thielbar is out of the bullpen for the Cubs. It's weird seeing these guys with good ERAs, and then I look at the bullpen, and we've got guys with ERAs as high as 6.7. Dominic Fletcher with 2 away hits this one pretty well into center. Giants franchise legend Ian Happ is under it. 1-2-3 inning for Thielbar. He gets through it quickly. Karinchak still in for the White Sox, and sure enough, retires this side. John Birdie goes down looking. 4 up, 4 down for James Karinchak, and that'll bring us into the 7th. A much quieter 6th inning after all the action in the 5th. Nick Maton leads things off. He hits this one to the opposite field. Suzuki will not make the play. That one bounces off the wall, over the fence for a ground rule double. A little unconventional, but we'll take it. Runner in scoring position for Benintendi. Lines it into right. That one is going to go likely for extra bases. The runner will score. That's Maton. Benintendi is safe at second, and the lead is within 1. It's now 5 for a quick start here in the 7th. And now the Cubs are going to make another pitching change. I'm not so sure how their bullpen is that much better than ours, yet they only have 1 more win than we do. I guess they don't have, like, Drew Thorpe and whatnot who can give us quality starts. Porter Hodge out of the pen. I guess there you go. His ERA is at 9. That seems a little bit more on brand for arguably the worst team in the NL as Luis Robert draws another walk. On base for a 3rd time today. 1st and 2nd. Nobody out. Andrew Vaughn hit a 3-run homer his last time up. He will not get another one here. The sweeper got him. It looked like he was ahead of that one for the first out of the frame. And we're going to go to the bench here. Lenin Sosa would be up, but being that a righty's in the game, I would way rather Josh Rojas get the at-bat. Count is full. Rojas swinging and a miss on the fastball. Good pitch by Hodge for the 2nd out of the inning. And now the Cubs are going to make another pitching change. So Hodge sees 3 guys. They're then going to yank him. The Cubs are going to go to their 4th separate pitcher out of the bullpen. I feel like this could have been avoided if, they kept Boyd in for 5 or 6 innings. But they're going to go to a lefty. That's what they wanted to do. They wanted to get the matchup here. And it's Luke Little, who's been very good this year, 2.29 ERA. Now, the weird thing is they're not even facing off against a lefty. It's Brian Ramos. Now, granted, Ramos is a little better against righties, but not, dramatically. 1st and 2nd, 2-2, 2 away, swing to miss! Ramos goes down on the high heat. It's been a quiet one for Brian Ramos. He's 0 for 4. We'll go bottom 7. Steven Wilson out of the pen for the White Sox, his 2nd appearance of the year. First one went pretty good. We'll see if this one does as well. Post 7-inning stretch, still anyone's game, as you can see by the numbers there. Nico Horner will get things started. Count is full, 3-2. And he goes down on the fastball. I know it's a big ask, but can the bullpen keep us afloat in this ball game? Kyle Tucker, 2-2, checked his swing, went around, looked like that pitch was in the zone anyway, and it goes for strike 3. Michael A. Taylor off the bench is a pinch hitter. He hits this one high and deep into left. Suzuki at the track, at the wall. It is gone! Solo home run for Michael A. Taylor, his first as a White Sox, and it comes at a great time. Pinch hit opportunity for Taylor. We're tied at 5. Not every day do you intentionally bring up someone who's hitting 140 with an OPS below 400. But I like the matchup with Taylor against the lefty, and it pays off. Maton up the middle. That's his 3rd hit of the game. Another runner here with 2 away for the White Sox, potentially looking to take the lead. As that will bring us to the top of the order. Andrew Benintendi up for the White Sox. Full count. Lines it into left. Suzuki will track it down. Makes the play, but a successful inning. Pinch hit home run for Michael A. Taylor, his 1st of the year. will go bottom 8, tied at 5. Cam Boozer out of the pen for Chicago. I wouldn't say he's been consistent this year, but compared to everybody else, he's been pretty solid. Michael Busch, full count, swinging a miss on the high sweeper. Good pitch by Boozer for the second out of the inning. It's fitting that his last name is Boozer because every fan in this stadium, whether it's for the Cubs or the White Sox, has wanted to drink all year with how bad their teams are. Nice double for Dansby Swanson, though, down the right field line. 2 away for Miguel Amaya. Lines it into left. Benintendi makes the play. So we are tied at 5 going into the 9th. Should be an exciting finish as the Cubs will go back to the pen again. They have used practically all of their relievers at this point. It's Ryan Brazier. They are going to bring in their main closer here. They want to put their best foot forward. Andrew Vaughn is up, 1 away, full count, draws a walk. So the White Sox have the potential go-ahead run aboard with 1 away. That'll bring up Josh Rojas. 2-2, puts it on the ground. This could be a double play. Busch, Swanson over to first base, got him! It is a 3-6-1. Double play. We'll go to the bottom of the 9th, tied at 5, and we're going to follow suit. We're going to bring in our closer, Penn Murphy. Not a save opportunity, but in save ops, he is 8 of 10 with an ERA hovering around 3. Nico Horner grounds this one towards second, and it gets by Rojas. We were a strike away from extra innings, and now the Cubs have the potential winning run at first base. We'll see if they can bring him in. Kyle Tucker up. Runner goes for second. Tucker hits it high and deep into center, and Robert makes the play. That was a close call, probably 10 or 15 feet away from going over the fence and being a walk-off. So that'll bring us into the 10th, tied at 5, runner at second. Brian Ramos starts the inning, and he hits this ball high and deep into left. Suzuki at the track, at the wall. It is gone! The legend of Brian Ramos continues. His 8th home run of the year, and the White Sox lead at 7-5. This kid is becoming a star in front of our own eyes. He had the great April, gets the wheel spin, and we know there's an opportunity for us to give him a pretty big ratings boost. And unless the rest of May goes into the gutter for him, I imagine he's going to see some nice boosts. He's homered 5 times in this month. He has gotten some big clutch hits, none bigger than this one, to put the White Sox up 7-5 here in the top of the 10th. So Brazier, the closer, is yanked out of the game, and he'll be replaced by Yency Almonte. He'll face off against Matt Thaiss, who checked into the game earlier as a defensive substitution. And Thaiss rips this one into right. If it's fair, it's gone. And it is! 417 feet. His first home run as a White Sox. And it's now 8-5 in favor of Chicago. I guess I should probably specify in favor of the White Sox since, both of these teams play in Chicago. But it's the White Sox with early extra inning fireworks, and the hits keep on coming. Maton down the line. Suzuki misplays it. And Maton is in for his 4th hit of the game. That's his 3rd double. What a stretch to open the year for Nick Maton. He is balling. Benintendi gets a piece of it into left center. Suzuki after it, and he will make the catch. What a play by Suzuki, but what an inning for the White Sox. 2-run homer by Brian Ramos. Solo shot by Matt Thaiss. Into the bottom of the 10th, we only have 2 relievers left. Tyler Gilbert and Sean Smith. Gilbert will be in for the save. His ERA sits at 8 on the year, so even though we're up by 3, I can't say I'm that confident. Carson Kelly into the gap. That'll make it 8-6. Robert tracks it down, cuts it off quickly, but it's an RBI double for Kelly, and the tying run will be up at the plate with nobody out for the Cubs. So they are not leaving this game without a fight, as that brings up Michael Busch. Lefty on lefty, runner on third with 1 away. As it goes into right, Michael A. Taylor makes the play. They're going to send the runner. Taylor, the throw is just offline. In that spot, I don't really know why they would have sent the runner, but more power to you. It's 8-7. 2 away now for Dansby Swanson. Behind in the count. 1-2. Pitch from Gilbert. Swing to miss on the splitter. The White Sox win at 8-7 in 10. What a start to this 3-game set at Wrigley against the Cubs. No shortage of fireworks in this one. We went deep 4 times. 3-run homer by Vaughn. Michael A. Taylor off the bench. Brian Ramos with a 2-run shot. And then Matt Thaiss, the clincher, off the bench. So shout out to the bench for delivering, making plays. Michael A. Taylor is a pinch hitter. Thaiss had to come in the game as his defensive substitution because Taylor replaced Corey Lee. But both of those guys get their first home runs of the year. While the pitching was up and down, Jairo Iriarte was great through the first 3 innings. Then it got away from him in the 4th. And the bullpen wasn't pitiful, which, has been the standard for them this year. But they weren't great either. What a start, though, for the Crosstown Classic. Both teams now 17-28, which is not the worst team in baseball. The Rockies and Cardinals are both worse than us. Look at this. We are making progress. It's slow, but it is progress. We're going to simulate up to this series against the Orioles. So 2 more against the Cubs, 3 against Seattle, 3 against Texas, and 3 against the Mets. Martin Perez fractured his head. Ooh, and he will be done for the year. A scary sight to see. Now, obviously, he was not having a great season for us. I thought he was pitching pretty well out of the bullpen, though. But unfortunately, his season is done. We would lose the last 2 games against the Cubs, bringing us to this Mariners series. And I wanted to stop here real quick because we're making a roster move. It's time. Kyle Teel has actually not played all that well over the last couple of weeks. His WAR has gone down. His OPS has gone down 100 points. But I still think he's ready. We're going to keep 3 catchers on the roster for the time being. Both Lee and Thaiss have struggled. They've both hit under 200. Only 1 combined homer between the 2 of them, which we just saw against the Cubs. But Kyle Teel will make his debut against the Mariners, and we will player lock this first game with him. I'm not going to miss one of our top prospects' debuts. Are you kidding me? Now, it's going to be a tough test for him. He's facing off against George Kirby, who's one of the better young righties in Major League Baseball. Exciting, though, for Kyle Teel making his debut in the City Connect uniforms. Teel has been very impressive so far in AAA, and he's a guy who I think could be a big piece of this team's future. Coming in from the Garrett Crochet trade, he was the number 4 prospect in the organization to start the year. He has climbed all the way up to number 2, and the 37th prospect in baseball. He's earned his way up with a hot start in AAA. He's currently the number 1 position prospect in the system, so a guy who we know has a lot of potential. We think he can become one of the best catchers in baseball, which might be held by this guy currently. You can make the case that Cal Raleigh is the best catcher in the MLB right now, and he's going to go bunt. Why would Cal Raleigh bunt it? Kyle Teel will make the play, though, his first defensive play behind the dish for the White Sox. But why is Cal Raleigh bunting? That makes no sense to me. So here is Teel in the bottom of the second. We'll show the entirety of the at-bat against George Kirby. Maybe not the guy you want to have your first at-bat against, but this is what we got to do as he fouls it back on the first pitch. A little bit behind the 96-mile-an-hour fastball. These guys throw harder than they do in AAA. It's going to take some time to get used to, I imagine. Fouls off another one. The 96-mile-an-hour sinker. What a filthy pitch by George Kirby. I don't think Kyle Teel saw any 96-mile-an-hour sinkers in the minors, but that's just me. Already behind in the count 0-2. Thought about it. Does a good job holding back. Takes the inside slider. Now the count sits at 1-2 for Kyle Teel. Pitch on the way for Kirby. Another inside pitch. Fastball comes in at 97. And Kyle Teel's doing a good job here after starting 0-2. Battles back. Count is even now. And Teel hits this one pretty well into center. Should be caught, though, by Julio Rodriguez. And it is. His first career at bat. Ends with a flyout. Look at this opportunity into the 4th, tied at 1. Another homer for Michael A. Taylor, while Cal Raleigh went deep for Seattle. So with 2 on, Kyle Teel gets a piece of it. Into right center, at the track, at the wall, it's caught! Oh no, I thought that was the play. Even if not a homer, that could have been a double. But Julio Rodriguez makes an incredible play at the wall. Not many guys are ranging over to make this play, but Julio Rodriguez is a unicorn. That was close to going over the fence. I don't think he robbed a homer, but again, that should have been a double. Of course, the White Sox would not score that inning. Shocker, shocker. Still 1-1 in the 7th. That ball gets by Teel. Wild pitch from James Karinchak. So this is what he's doing when I'm not controlling him, I guess. So now there's a runner at third for Rosarena. He flies this one into center field. Luis Robert will make the play. Runner looks to tag up. Robert with a dime. Teel has to apply the tag. It's going to be close. And he's out of there! What a throw by Luis Robert. And a great tag behind the plate by our young catcher, Kyle Teel. Now on to his third at bat, bottom 7. George Kirby only at 71 pitches. He's still in the game. Teel rips the first pitch, hits it well again. Him and Julio Rodriguez have become quite good friends, I take it, in this game. Teel is now 0 for 3 with 3 flyouts to center field. Bottom 9, trailing 3-1 off of a homer by J.P. Crawford as he strikes out on the slider. A filthy pitch by Andres Munoz. And the Mariners win it 3-1. The late home run by another Giants franchise legend, J.P. Crawford, wins it for Seattle. Kyle Teel hit the ball well, in my opinion, but he goes 0 for 4 in his debut with a strikeout. Should have had a double, though, in the 4th, and that would have scored a run or two. That would have completely changed the game. I feel like we've got to play another game now, get another opportunity for Teel to at least get his first career hit. It's not going to be much easier. He's going up against Logan Gilbert. As for us, it's Drew Thorpe. Popped up, and nice play there by Teel to range over to it. I think Kyle Teel has a chance to be one of the better defensive catchers in Major League Baseball pretty quickly. He's got a really good glove, strong arm. So he's up bottom 2. There's the mascot. Runner on second, 1 away. He's ahead 2-0. But he grounds it over to second. The first hit will not happen there as Jorge Polanco fields it cleanly. Bases loaded in the 5th. Donovan Solano flies it into center. Luis Robert makes the play. Runner looks to tag up. Throw to the plate is good. Teel's going to have to tag him. And he does! Luis Robert, back-to-back games, throws out a runner at the plate. And this game remains scoreless. Another phenomenal start for Drew Thorpe. Teel up with 1 away in the bottom of the 5th. Ropes in on the right. There it is! First career hit for Kyle Teel. Took him 6 at-bats, a little bit longer than we would have hoped for. But better late than never. The first of hopefully many hits for the young 23-year-old backstop. We're going to collect that baseball and save it for him. Surprise of nobody, the White Sox will not drive him in, and it's still scoreless into the 7th. Runner goes for second. Let's look at the arm strength. He got it there quickly, but not in time. Another really impressive start for Drew Thorpe. He goes 5 scoreless, and another impressive start where he will not get a win because the rest of this team is filled with trolls. Kyle Teel hits it well into right. This one should be caught, though, and it will. At least it's not a fly out to center for once. As Victor Robles will make the play. 7 scoreless for Logan Gilbert. Still knotted up into the 8th. Runner goes for second again. Teel lets it fly quickly. That was a close call. A really good throw. But the runner is safe. So the Mariners would score that runner, and it's 1-0 here in the bottom of the 9th. Kyle Teel is currently in the hole. I figured I would watch this at bat to see if anything cool happens. And sure enough, Benintendi gets it by the glove of the first baseman, Luke Raley. Runner makes it to third, and now things get interesting. I enjoyed this edition of Dugout Simulator. They did not show us the next at-bat for some reason, but it looks like he would have walked. That would be Brian Ramos. And guess who's up with the bases loaded? Kyle Teel, in his second big league game, has a chance to win it. Not going to be easy against Andres Munoz as he looks at the sinker. Finds himself behind 0-1. Base hit would end the game for the White Sox as this one is on the ground to short. Crawford flips it to second. Kyle Teel does not get the big moment. And the Mariners win this one 1-0. So Drew Thorpe goes 5 scoreless, and of course the team loses. Now this time you can't really blame the bullpen. 4 innings, only having allowed 1 run. Could have been a lot worse. It was the offense who lost us the game. Kyle Teel goes 1 for 4, but in the biggest spot, he blew it. As for this last game against Seattle, we've got another close one. Tied at 2, top 7, bases loaded for Harry Ford. Their top catching prospect who's making his big league debut in this game. And just like Teel, he's got a bases loaded opportunity already. 0-2 on the way for Ford. Swinging a miss. So neither of the young catchers come up big when their teams need them. Good pitch there by Boozer, but the bases are loaded again here in the ninth. Steven Wilson was in the game, and we are going to take him out. There are other pitchers I would rather in here, and Wilson's already thrown well over an inning. We're going to bring in our closer, Penn Murphy, the former Seattle Mariner. The team gave up on him after his Tommy John surgery. He's looking to get revenge. It's Cade Marlowe swinging a miss on the fastball. Good pitch by Murphy for the second out. Big spot here for guess who? Harry Ford, who's ahead 3-0. Who would have thought that Harry Ford's going to get another shot with the bases loaded? Now, with this being a rookie in his big league debut, I thought he would want to swing up 3-0, but he's going to take the modest approach. Look at that one for strike one. 3-1 pitch on the way, and that's a ball. You absolutely could not afford to walk him in that spot, handing them the potential winning run, Julio Rodriguez. J.P. Crawford now flies it into left. Mike Tauchman is under it. So at the very least, they only got one. They lead the bases loaded again, but they never should have been able to take the lead there to begin with. Bottom nine, Tauchman with a leadoff double. Luis Robert is already homered in this game. Another homer would win it, and that is definitely not a homer. Grounder to second, play is made. We do advance Tauchman to third. All we need is a base hit from Maton, and he gets hits. Charge the mound. Nonetheless, the winning run is on first base, and that'll bring up Brian Ramos, who's been cold in this series. He's just 1 for 9 with a single earlier in this ball game. First pitch, rips it between the third baseman and the shortstop. This game is tied at 3. Death, taxes, and Brian Ramos. He is inevitable, and we're going to bring in a pinch hitter off the bench. It's Kyle Teel, who did not get the start in this game. 1-1. Teel hits it pretty well into left. Rosarena after it, and he makes the play at the wall. We thought about sending the runner, but then I realized that would be incredibly stupid. So we're going to send him back for Fletcher. It's a wild pitch. Both runners advance. 2 in scoring position. In hindsight, maybe we should have sent the runner because we probably could have walked it off with the wild pitch. But now it's 3-1 for Fletch, hitting the ball pretty well this year, 258, and he gets a piece of it. 106 off the bat. J-Rod after it, and he makes the catch. I thought that was going to drop. I thought we won the game. Does not happen, and the top of the 10th would be a disaster. The Mariners get 4, but we would respond with 3. There's 2 runners on. There's nobody out. What a rally from the offense, and Luis Robert has another chance to walk it off. 2-1, up the middle, off of Brash's foot, and the bases are loaded with nobody out. What a start to the inning for the White Sox. Tyne runs at third. Winning run is at second. All we need is a base hit to end the game, essentially. And it's Nick Maton, and he gets hit again. Second time in a row he gets plunked. What kind of beef do the Mariners have with Nick Maton? So Brash is gone. Drew Pomeranz is in. And guess who has a chance to walk it off? How fitting. It's Brian Ramos. The 0-1, up the middle, base hit, ball game. Brian Ramos wins it for the White Sox. An 8-7 victory. Ramos is the hero, his third hit of the game. He tied it in the 9th, wins it in the 10th. I don't know, man. I think we got something special with this kid. He's a stud. What a win. The bullpen tried their damnedest to blow this game, but we score 5 in the bottom of the 10th, and we did it all with no outs. Unfortunately, we have a new injury, though. Miguel Vargas hurts his shoulder. It sucks because he's actually playing pretty well. Drawing walks, hitting for power. I was hoping to get him more at bats, but we're going to have to wait until after his injury. Bobby Dalbec will replace him on the roster. So after taking 1 of 3 against the Mariners, that'll bring us to this series against the Rangers, and unfortunately, we lost the first 2 games. Sweep is a possibility, but we've got a runner on second. Nobody out here in the bottom of the 10th. Chris Martin faces off against Mike Tauchman. Rips this one into right for a hit. I thought about sending the runner, but we decided to send him back. Probably a good decision. He would have been out by a mile. Adolis Garcia's got quite the arm. Tying run at third. Winning run is at first. Andrew Vaughn puts it on the ground. Leave it to the White Sox to ground into a double play. Now, luckily, there was nobody out. So the run still scores, and we still tie the game. Luis Robert looks to win it, and he will not. Flies it into left. It is caught by Jock Peterson, who is amongst the AL leaders in OPS. The Rangers would score 5 in the 11th, and they would win this game actually kind of comfortably. 7-2. We end up getting swept by Texas. Langford brought home a run. Duran brought home a run. And Jock Peterson sealed it with a 3-run double. He has turned into a superstar this year for the Rangers. What a campaign for Big Jock. His OPS currently sits at 1044. Now in this series against the Mets, we would split the first 2 games. Ronnie Mauricio goes down on strikes. Good pitch by Penn Murphy in the 8th. And we would hang on to win it in the 9th. 2-1 series win in Queens against the Mets, who have been pretty mediocre this year, only 28-28, but still a nice win. Sosa and Taylor go deep. Jonathan Cannon with the start. He gets the win. He pitched pretty adequately. We did win this first game 12-9. This was Drew Thorpe's first bad start of the year. So it's kind of funny that we actually won the game, and the offense actually gave him run support for once. So with that, we are 20-36, the 3rd worst record in baseball. You know, we really didn't play half bad today. We went 12-16. That's pretty respectable. I mean, it's not great, but could have been a lot worse. And with that, I pose a question before we end the episode. Which players did you guys think stood out, positively or negatively, and should get a wheel spin? I imagine the number 1 answer will be Brian Ramos. We just spun the wheel for him. I kind of want to limit it to 1 wheel spin per player per season. But of course, we are going to up his ratings in the next episode. He ended the month pretty poorly, but has obviously had a strong month of May and will get a well-deserved boost. Next episode, we'll go through the month of June and we'll talk scouting. We'll take our first look at the draft class, and the draft will be in the episode following. So that'll wrap things up. Hope you guys enjoyed. I know it was a long one. I didn't intend for the episode to be this long, but we had a lot of fun stuff to go over. Make sure to leave a like. Make sure to subscribe if you are new. Peace out.